Greetings, beloved family. Hello, hello. Dharma Shakti here with another episode of Keeping Yoga Spiritual. I have a passage from a book that I'd like to read to you from one of my favorite books, The Journey Within. It is written by Radhanath Swami, a beloved teacher of mine, just an amazing individual. So this is one of his books, and I feel like this book is the essence of yoga and bhakti yoga specifically. So in line with Keeping Yoga Spiritual, it's one of my favorite stories in the book, and I wanted to share it with you. So for all my yogis out there and yoginis and anybody who is on the spiritual path, and when I say spiritual path, I mean any expression of living from the spirit, whether that's through yoga or that's through Christianity or that's through Islam, or you're an atheist but you still connect to your soul, like whatever it is, like spirituality to me is living from the spirit, living from the heart, right? Because the heart is the home, the house, the seat of the spirit. So this story, I hope, inspires you and gives you some wisdom for your everyday life as it has for me. So the story, I'm gonna try to tell the story, but I'm gonna reference the book so that I just make sure to get all the details. This story takes place in South India. The pilgrims have been going to this holy place, and this island next to the Kaveri River is called Sri Rangam, and it was a holy village where there was a teacher there named Ramanuja. And if you guys take my mantra meditation classes, you may have heard me tell the story of Ramanuja and the mantra that he shared, which is one of the mantras that we chant in our Tuesday and Thursday classes. And so this sage, this wise teacher, lived in this place called Sri Rangam. And so Ramanuja has his sort of ashram and his place of stay, and he's got thousands of students who are there studying under him, and in his temples and his ashrams, and it's just a really holy city. There's constantly continuous ceremonial music and mantras being chanted and elaborate rituals being performed, and this is happening during the 12th century, right? This is a real story. And so Ramanuja is living there, and he's just become this beacon of wisdom for tens of millions of followers, it says in this book here. And his immediate successor was a student named Parashara. I hope I'm saying his name right. I'm pretty sure I am. Parashara, but I could be wrong. So when Parashara was still just a little boy, there was a visitor coming through their town of Sri Rangam. So this all-Indian debate champion, this gentleman who is like this greatest debater in all of India at this time, he's known as a champion. He's kind of going on his victory tour, and he's coming through this place of pilgrimage in Sri Rangam. He's coming through there, and he's got this elaborate palanquin and his whole entourage, and there's just flowers, and it's just this celebratory thing because he's looked at as this scholarly individual who has a certain level of wisdom, yes? And so he's coming through on this procession by his followers, and this man, this debater, is ignoring all of the customs of paying homage and bowing and being respectful to all of the many sages and saints and priests and holy people who live in this beautiful town of Sri Rangam with Ramanuja and all of his students. And here's little 5-year-old Parashara. He's just a little boy, and he's hearing that this debater is coming in through the town, and instead of showing any respect for any of the temple priests, he instead boasted that there was no question he could not answer. So instead of being reverent and taking his victory in humility, he's actually going around being boastful, saying that there's no question he cannot answer. So 5-year-old Parashara runs up to the scholar, and he exclaimed in his little boy voice, "I have a question for you." And the scholar looked at him with some disdain, right? He's like, "Silly child, you still have your mother's breast milk on your lips. Run away, right? Just go. Get away from me," he says. And little 5-year-old Parashara says to him, "Sir, if you really see the true self in all beings, why should age matter? Can you answer any question or not?" I like this little boy, right? This is really bold. Can you answer any question or not? You said you could answer any question. You're boasting it. So can you answer any question? Frowning down from his palanquin, the scholar retorted, I have challenged and defeated every scholar in the land. There's no question that I cannot answer. And little Parashara reached down and he scooped up a handful of sand. And he asked, how many grains of sand do I have in my hand? The scholar was speechless. This was not the kind of question that he meant. Parashara continued, so, sir, forgive me, but you are so blinded by arrogance that you can't see the good qualities in others. A tree with good fruits bends down low, and a person with good qualities bows low to the virtues of others. All of your knowledge is worthless as sand if it doesn't help you develop good character and devotion to God. Those words, spoken without malice by a child, pierced the scholar's heart, and he climbed down from his palanquin, and he bowed before the boy in defeat, and he begged to learn from him as a disciple. He says, you are my guru, I bow to you. Like this turning in his heart just happened in that moment, so humbled. So, I love this. I love this. He says, you are so blinded by arrogance that you can't see the good qualities in others. What happens is we begin to do fault finding. We get arrogant in our own ways, whether we are proud and puffed up or we just think we're right. Even if we're not a confident person, we can still be arrogant in our rightness, in our principles, and in our choices and in our judgments, right? So when we do that, we're blinded. We can't see the good qualities in others. And I love this, a tree with good fruits. Like I just think of a mango tree with ripe, heavy, big, juicy mangoes, and the branches are just bending down low so that other people can pluck those fruits and benefit from them, right? So a tree with good fruits bends down low, and a person with good qualities bows low. Like we bow in humility and honor and respect, gratitude and appreciation and thanksgiving, right? We bow to the virtues of others and to others who are living their virtues, living into their virtues. We bow to them. All of our knowledge is worthless as sand if it doesn't help us develop good character. What's the point in all the knowledge, right? If it's not, I always say, like, if yoga isn't changing your life, then what's the point? If you aren't experiencing change in your life, you're just going through the motions on the mat, I promise you. Okay, so it's okay to go through the motions at first, but we got to dig deep, right? Like, what's the point in all of it if it's not helping us develop good character and devotion to a higher being or a higher intelligence or something bigger to believe in than just your measly little self? There is a second part to this story that I want to share with you, but I am out of time. So I'm going to pause here. And our next episode of Keeping Yoga Spiritual will be part 2 of the Parashara story, who now has lived a life and has become the successor to Ramanuja in this village of Sri Rangam. And Parashara now has a student who has a great question for him. And this story is all about this student getting that answer and what that answer is and what that question is. I bet you want to know what it is, so tune in for the next one. I will be making that video soon and sending that out to you guys. But for now, thank you for tuning in for this episode of Keeping Yoga Spiritual. If there are any topics that you'd like me to cover or concepts that you'd like me to unpack or anything, this is here to help you keep your yoga practice in alignment with growing and developing your spirit, right? Those good qualities within us. And I think storytelling is a great way to inspire that. So thank you for listening and tuning in. And it's such an honor to be here with you. Remember that I love you and I believe in you. And stay upful and bright and keep shining that light. Until I see you next time, peace out and bless up. Namaste, folks.